Hey everybody, my name is Tom Tullis. This is the Tomb of 3D Printed Horrors, and today we're going to take a look at how to properly lubricate your Bambu Lab A1 and A1 Mini. Now, before we get started, if you like my videos, if they help you out, please consider helping me out in return. Click that like and subscribe button and leave a comment if you would. That really does help me with the YouTube algorithm. The better I do there, the more people will see my videos, and the more viewers I get, the more subscribes I get. So if you would, just do those quick 3 things and help me out a little bit. So thank you. Before we get started here, let's talk real quick about oil and grease. You're going to want to use oil on steel rods. You're going to want to use it on linear rails, but you do not really want to use oil on your Z-screw. You can, but it's going to wear off very, very fast. You're going to be constantly reapplying it. You really want to use a grease on your Z-screws. And I know the Bambu Lab, the video that's on their wiki for how to lubricate the A1 shows them using grease on the Y-axis rods on the A1. I really don't recommend that. You'd want, on rods like that, you want to use an oil. So what I really like is Super Lube. They make a great synthetic grease and a synthetic oil. I use this on all of my machines, my Creality printers. I used to use it on my Prussias, but it really does work well. Please, for the love of God, do not use WD-40 on your printer. WD-40 is not a lubricant. It is water. It is a water displacement chemical. It'll dry out parts that have water in them and moisture, and it's great for that. But do not use WD-40 to lubricate anything on your 3D printer. Okay, that said, like I mentioned, you're going to want to get a good quality oil and grease, and I use Super Lube. Next thing you're going to want, do not use cotton swabs to apply the oil and the grease. You're going to want a sponge applicator like this, and these are used for cleaning like photographic cameras and stuff, lenses, things like that. All of these things are linked in the video description on my website. I'll get to that in a minute, but you want to use a foam tipped applicator like this. It won't leave any lint on your rails or on your Z-axis screw. If you get a lint buildup, that can cause problems, so do not use a Q-tip. Next up, you're going to want to get, I really like these nylon brushes. These particular ones I've got linked have a very thick bristle. They don't bend easy, which makes them perfect for cleaning out your Z-axis screw, the threads on that, and getting down in the linear rails and popping out any debris that's down in the groove. So these are nice nylon. This particular pack comes with a set of nylon tweezers, which are great for picking debris out of spots because they're nylon. They will not scratch the steel on your printer. If you're using steel tweezers on a steel rod, you will scratch it up. So stick with something like this. Next up, this is absolutely critical. It's not toilet paper. This is a non-woven cloth roll. And it's perforated like toilet paper. You tear a little swatch off and use it for cleaning your printer up. But this will not leave lint or little strings or anything on your printer that can mess it up. So again, a roll like this will last you a very, very, very long time. I go through one of these, God, I can't remember the last time I bought one. It's been a while. Same way with the lubricants and stuff, they last forever because you're only using a very small amount. All of these things are linked in the video description. If those links ever go bad, I can't keep going back and updating links on 100 different videos. So what I do is I maintain a list on my website. If you go to the Fat Dragon Games website, on the right hand side there it says 3D printing recommended parts and equipment. If you click on that, it's going to jump you to my parts page. And then just scroll down there to the very bottom. The last 4 or 5 things are the things you want. The sponges, the brushes, the wipes, and then the oil and the grease. Go to the bottom of the list, last 5 things. Those are the items you want. All right, let's get started. I'm going to show you the A1 Mini first, and then I will go into the A1. Be sure to watch the complete video because I don't repeat things between the two. To start with, on the A1, you're going to want to take the non-woven wipe and wipe the X-axis linear rail down, top and bottom. And you'll see it does accumulate a little dirt. Oil will do that. It will attract dirt and lint and stuff, and you're just wiping what you can off with this. Now you're going to take a nylon brush and get down in that groove that goes along the top and bottom of the rail. Get in there, pop out any debris that is in it, but you want that clean before you apply oil to it. So just get in there, wipe it in there good, and then wipe it down one more time with the non-woven cloth. Just move your print head back and forth so you can get both sides of it. Now for linear rails like this, you're going to use oil. No grease, just oil. Take one of your cotton applicator or your sponge applicator swabs and really soak it in oil. I mean, you don't want to have a lot of oil on the rail, but this absorbs so much you want to soak it, and that way you don't have to keep reloading it. So get a good amount of oil on that, and then wipe it down into that groove on the top and bottom of the rail and go back and forth a few times. You don't want the oil pooling up. You don't want it dripping, but you do want to get some even coverage on it so that it is protected. So just wipe that back and forth a few times. If you see pooling up oil, wipe it off. You don't want that, but you do want a good thin coat across everything on this rail. So go back and do the opposite side, top and bottom. Get the front a little bit, just real thinly, and get that done. Wipe off that front so it's not pooling up. And move the head back and forth to distribute it, and you're good. Next up, we're going to do the Y-axis rods. And again, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to take the cloth and just wipe them down. Get above and below them. Remember, there's a space underneath this rod. Get under it too. Dust and dirt will accumulate there. And just wipe it down good. Gently move your bed to the front and start wiping the rear area down there. Get that good. Once you're done with that, you're going to get another foam applicator, get oil in it, and I'll go through real quick just to get underneath the rails. Use a nylon brush just to make sure there's no debris under it. I should have done that before I started with the swab. Okay, put oil on your sponge applicator. And the same thing you did with the X-axis linear rail, you're going to do with these two steel rods. Go gently down it, get above and below and along the sides, and just get a nice thin coat of oil on them. And you're going to want to do the fronts, left and right side, and the same thing for the rear. And just get in and make sure you get under it too. And if there's any, big pools of oil, just wipe them down, smooth them out a little bit. You'll need to reload for the rear. Go ahead and get more oil on the swab, and then just repeat for the back end of the the two rods. If you get any oil anywhere else or on the plastic housing, just wipe it off with the cloth. Move your bed back and forth, distribute that oil a little bit, and you're good to go. All right, next up, you're going to want to take one of the nylon brushes and wipe off any accumulated debris that's in the Z-axis screw. You'll see hunks of old grease. Get that out as best you can with the brush. Once you've done that, then you can start applying grease with another clean swab. And what you're going to do here is you want to get in there, and I'm going to show you a close-up in a minute, but probably pick about 4 or 5 different spots along the rod. You don't need to do the whole thing. If you just pick, say, 4 or 5 spots, it'll distribute out as you run the Z-axis up and down. But what you want to do is go in there, and when you get that off, it's going to look black like that. That's just the debris that's on the rods. But pick about 4 or 5 spots out, put the grease on, and when you do this, what you're going to want to do is actually work it into the screw between the threads. And I will show you a close-up here real quick. This is an Ender 2 Pro, but it shows the rod well. What you're going to want to do is when you apply grease to these Z-axis screws, don't do like this and leave just a big hunk of grease on the side. You actually want to rub it in a little bit to the screw threads, and it will distribute more evenly then. Now, unlike the full-size A1, the A1 Mini has a linear rail on the Z-axis, so you're going to need to clean that off. Do the wipe off, use the brush, and then finally apply the oil. And you're only going to be able to do this to the lower half of it. So go ahead and get that done. And once you've finished applying oil to it, you're going to want to move the X-axis down. That will allow you to repeat this for the upper half of the linear rail. So turn your machine on, wait for it to start up, go into control. Up at the top, you're going to hit where it says XYZ, and then just hit the Z down arrow, and it will ask you if you want to home, and hit the home message or home button, and the machine will home itself. Once it does that, the X-axis will be low enough that you can go in and repeat the procedure, wipe it off, use the nylon brush, and then finally apply the oil to the upper half of the linear rail on the Z-axis. Once you've done that, you're finished. Okay, let's take a look at the full-size A1 now. Pretty much the same drill. The X-axis linear rail, you're going to want to wipe it down with your non-woven cloth, get both sides of it, get any excess oil from the previous cleaning, lint, debris, anything you can, get it off. It will be dirty. That's normal. Oil and grease do attract dust and dirt. Go in with your nylon brush, clean out the top and bottom grooves. If it gets a lot of dirt on it, just wipe it off between applications. That way you're not spreading that around just to other areas of the linear rail like that. Okay, after that, you're ready to apply oil to the X-axis linear rail. Load up your foam applicator. And then do exactly like you just saw on the A1 Mini. Work it into that groove, top and bottom. Wipe it back and forth. Do not leave a big puddle of oil anywhere. Get it evenly distributed, just a nice thin layer. But you do not want it dripping. You do not want a puddle of it. You just, if you can see, a pool of oil, you've got way too much on it. Move the print head to the opposite side and do the other end of the rail. And again, just a thin coat. You're going to do this every 2 weeks. The printer will prompt you when it needs oiling. I generally do mine every 2 weeks. Okay, Y-axis, the back cover just pops up. Use a fingernail under it and lift up and then pull straight out the back. Set that cover aside and just be careful. Those tabs are fragile. This is going to be similar to the A1 Mini rods. You're going to want to wipe them down first with your non-woven cloth. Get them good and wiped down. The nice thing about this is they are covered, so there shouldn't be a lot of dirt or dust on them. They're pretty well protected on the full-size A1. But again, move your print or your print bed to the back. Get the front ends of the rods. Get them wiped down. Get your foam swab. Add plenty of oil to it, and then just apply that to the top, sides, and bottoms of those rods on each side. Move the print bed to the front, and then get the rear ends of the two rods, the sides, the top and bottom of each one, left and right, and you'll be good to go. Now, reinserting your Y-axis cover plate. Be very careful doing this. What you want to do is start feeding it straight through from the back. and get it in almost all of the way. Do not force it if it hits anything. Move your print head back and then gently guide that tab into the front slot. Don't let it drop too low. It's going to want to be flush with the top front edge. So make sure those are lined up before you push it in, and then just gently push it forward. And once you got it pushed forward and lined up, push the back straight down, making sure that tab that you see there is on the inside of the lower housing. Next up, the two Z screws. You'll do this for the left and the right. I'm just showing you the right hand one there. Go through, clean out old grease with a nylon brush. It's going to be hunked up in spots. Get it cleaned off. Before you apply new grease, you can wipe your brush off. That way you aren't transferring it to other areas on the Z-axis rod. But get all those dirty hunks cleaned off. If you've gotten anything on the sides there, wipe it down with a cloth. And then now you're going to use the Super Lube grease on a sponge applicator. And just like I showed you on the A1 Mini, distribute it in about 4 or 5 spots, evenly distributed. You can actually start about 1.5 inches, 2 inches up from the base there, like I'm showing here. And then maybe 3, 4 more spots from there on up. And do like I showed you on the A1 Mini to work it into the threads. And when you run your printer, this will it'll automatically distribute it up and down the rail, or the Z-axis screw. Now this is something you're probably going to want to check and do maybe once a month. The Y-axis and X-axis lubrication, the oil, you're going to want to do about every 2 weeks. But the screw, once a month is fine. You don't have to do that all the time because the grease lasts a lot longer than the oil does. That's it. That's all you got to do to keep your Bambu Lab A1 and A1 Mini in good working order. These tips work fine for pretty much any other Cartesian FDM printer on the market. Again, if you would, please click that like and subscribe button and leave me a quick comment. And thank you for watching.